This is Allen Iverson. You watching Ball Don't Stop.
I like Ronda Rousey. Hell no. I ain't gonna play like that. I would not do it either. I'm not. Matter of fact, I wouldn't attempt to try to be there. Ain't a question. If I can or not, I would never try to find out.
It was another game to me, honestly. But in the aftermath of it, you know what I mean. I felt good about the effort that our team gave. I truly felt that we were going to win the series. You know what I mean. But I felt like that even before that game. But the better team won. Me, Kobe, LeBron, Tim Duncan, Shaq Emmanuel,
Come off the rim. And then he was just so tall. Just go over top of him. That was young legs, man. That was 20 years ago. I didn't think I would remember back that far. Damn. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's easy, man.
Mamba.
Easy.
Mamba.
Easy.
Well, I like both of them, so I don't want to get into that. Football player, I would say Deion Sanders. Basketball player, I would say not the game probably, but the heart. I would say Westbrook. Killer, certified. You gotta put certified. Serial killer.
Trademark.
I don't think no one in this world uses language like Coach Thompson. No one. I think both of them are teachers. They're always harping on playing the game the right way. I think that another similarity is they're excellent as far as helping you with your life from their past experiences or their present experience, and using that in a way that helps you in your life. I knew you was gonna ask something like that. Did he break any of my records? No, matter of fact, he went to the NFL. I didn't, so I'm gonna say him.
but your record still stands.
But my record still stands. Yeah, you put that. Me, Mike, and Shaq. Me, y'all two could have been on the team. The other two. I don't like commentary because I'm not saying that I don't think I could do it or anything like that. I just don't like really talking negative about anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I've had it done to me so much. I know how I feel. So just to, and it's really not even talking negative about somebody, but if you stink one night in a game, then obviously I have to talk about it, right? And that's not something that I'm thrilled about doing.
Think about if you switch teams, though. Let's say LeBron's teammates were Harden and Kyrie, and KD's were Westbrook or reuniting, let's just say, with Westbrook and AD. Imagine if you would have given Westbrook and KD, once they reached their peaks, AD on that team. Ooh. You think about it a little differently. You think the Lakers' chances, at least I do, got a little better because of the way KD shoots the ball. Now the shooting problem goes away a little bit. Yeah, LeBron would be the underdog against the Nets. I expect the Nets at full strength to be unmatched. But he's not without chances, LeBron. Westbrook is a great player. With warts and all, he's a great player. AD is a great player. And LeBron, last I recall, was considered by many the MVP last year until he started slowing down due to injury. By many, the MVP last year. This would not be the first time, Stephen A., LeBron James has done something like this. In 2016, he beat the 73-win Warriors team, a team in Game 7 where LeBron James won Finals MVP, a team that Kevin Durant's OKC Thunder took to a Game 7 at Oracle and failed to beat. He beat the 73-win team on the road that KD couldn't beat. And he beat Steph Curry and everyone, and he was the undisputed king of basketball. You want to be that again? Because I get where LeBron's coming from. It's one thing if there's a unanimous selection of someone else. Then LeBron has a little less to complain about. But if votes are going to two different guys and he gets none, I see why he's upset, because he's certainly in the mix with KD and Giannis. Certainly in the mix. In fact, when I brought that up, I remember you and I think it was Perk getting on me for including Giannis in that mix. But I felt after that finals performance, Giannis has to be in the mix with KD and LeBron. So I get where LeBron is coming from. You want to silence the haters? Beat Brooklyn. That'll silence the haters.
Let me say this to you, Max Kellerman. First of all, I can respect the fact that LeBron James is insulted. He's on the Mount Rushmore of basketball, make no mistake about it. One of the top two or three greatest players of all time, him, MJ, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't think anybody will question that at this point in his career. It's plain and simple. He's on the Mount Rushmore. Having said all of that, I can understand LeBron James being insulted about the Greek Freak. Comparisons to the Greek Freak. He has no business being insulted about Kevin Durant. Could y'all, let me be very, very clear. Let me look into the camera and say this stuff. Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. Period. There is no NBA player, including LeBron James, at this point in time, that is a better player than Kevin Durant in the world. Nobody. Now let me say this. If you're LeBron, I can understand why you're going to be upset about the Greek Freak. Because, see, I'm looking at LeBron James' numbers here. 26, 27, 27, 25, 25 over the last 4 or 5 years, okay? And we see what he shoots from the field. And even though he's a different player than the Greek Freak, he's a creator. Even though we saw Greek Freak passing the ball exceptionally well in the finals against Phoenix, he deserves a lot of credit for that. And we saw the monster game he had in the closeout game, particularly hitting 17 to 19 free throws, which we never thought we'd see from him in our lifetime, okay? We get all of that. But in the end, when you look at LeBron James the playmaker, LeBron James the facilitator, LeBron James the basketball savant that exploits mismatches like it's going out of style, LeBron James the greatest passer in the game as far as I'm concerned. When you look at all the elements of his game and what he brings to the table, there is simply no denying how special LeBron James is, the kind of effect and impact he has on the game of basketball. And there's no way on earth that two players should definitively be rated ahead of him to the point where he receives no votes from the executives and scouts. No votes. There's no excuse for that, okay?
Stephen A., this is where I'm confused, though. LeBron has the same numbers, if not better, than Kevin Durant last season. I'm looking at him right now.
Well, I'm not looking at just numbers.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at just numbers because, you see, if I was looking at just numbers, Molly, I could sit up there and go to the free throw line as well, because I keep bringing that up because that matters and people ignore the fact. See, when you can't hit free throws, Molly, and LeBron James over the last 3 years, let me make sure I have this right on point here. LeBron James over the last 3 seasons, 66.5%, 69.3%, 69.8%. He hasn't hit 70% of his free throws the last 3 years and 4 of the last 5 years. Why does that matter? Because what happens is, if I have questions about you from the free throw line, number one, I can lay off you and dare you to hit perimeter shots. Number two, when you get to the basket, I can simply foul you and send you to the free throw line as opposed to letting you convert shots at the basket. Number three, and more importantly, because of that, as the game wanes and crunch times arrive, you are an impediment to the team's success in a lot of situations when going up against elite competition if they're shot makers. That's why Max Kellerman and myself have the Brooklyn Nets as favorites. Why do we have them as favorites, Molly? Why do we have them as favorites, Max? We know they ain't elite defensively. We know that they are below average at best. We were making news about the Nets being ranked 25th as a defensive team and saying that's good enough because they are unstoppable.
Yeah, they score
offensively. Unstoppable. They're shot makers. And so when you compare LeBron and some of his recent struggles, particularly from the free throw line, in that regard, and obviously as a perimeter shooter overall, and you compare that to the marksmanship and the sniper-like capability of Kevin Durant, what would you rather have? I'd rather have Kevin Durant.
I would say it's very close. I'd say it's undetermined right now, but you're entitled to your opinion, as everyone is. I think LeBron is surprised that no one's opinion is that it's him, because Molly's right about the numbers. And in terms of the free throws, LeBron's not a bit like, if he hits about 70% of his free throws. It should be higher. It should be better. That's not a disaster. out of every 10 trips to the line, or every 5 trips to the line, if it's not an and one, right? You're shooting 2 free throws, so you have 10 free throw shots, right? Out of every 10, KD will hit 2 more than LeBron. That means every 10 trips to the line, KD is worth 2 points more than LeBron. But LeBron more than makes up for that in other ways. Kevin Durant turned into an excellent passer. LeBron James is among the very greatest passers who ever lived. He elevates the play of those around him, unlike anybody else.
The more you're talking, this is why we don't like listening to you talk basketball. Because what you're saying, Max, is this. This is exactly why. Because what you're saying,
I'm beating you in the debate.
Let me finish. Let me finish. You couldn't if you prayed to. If you prayed to, you couldn't do it. Here's the point,
I don't
Max.
have to pray. I'm doing
the
it now.
point is this. You sit up there and you seem like somebody who would be completely satisfied seeing the Brooklyn Nets play by their damn self. We want competition. We don't want to just sit up there. We don't want to just sit up there and see like a damn virtual layup line or some and one game or something like that. We want to see competition. We want to see you go up against a monster. 2 monsters going up against what you got. The level of competition matters.
So you don't want to see the Nets fully healthy, is what you're saying.
Listen, I didn't say that. What I said is when you talk about what's more anticipated, the reason why is we already anticipate what the Nets are going to be, because even without Harden, we're seeing some semblance of it. When the Lakers come on board, once LeBron comes back healthy, if they what we anticipate they will be, now you got something special to look forward to. You're waiting for the encounter. Somewhat similar, Max, to why I keep salivating for the Lakers going up against the Clippers. I want LeBron against Kawhi.
Yeah.
I don't want LeBron against Nurkic.
But we know the Lakers fully healthy.
I don't want LeBron
They're
against the
defending
Joker.
champs.
I want LeBron against Kawhi. And I want LeBron against KD. I want Kyrie against LeBron. I want that stuff. That's why you anticipate it. Could you imagine if the finals come up and it's KD against LeBron again? Oh, and now you got Kyrie who would love to beat up on LeBron if he could. You have any idea the storylines that come with that? That's what we're looking forward to.
We all want to see them both come back. They're both
more
anticipated. Which is more anticipated? LeBron coming back to a team we already know how good they're going to be. They're the defending
and Kyrie
champions.
without Harden going against LeBron would be appealing.
Or James Harden coming back to a team that we really haven't seen yet. We have not seen the Brooklyn Nets at full strength yet. I want to see that. I want to see it heading into the playoffs.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm anticipating LeBron James even more. Forget making it to the championship. I want to see how the Lakers going to look just coming out of the Western Conference. When you look how hard and how better teams have gotten, the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, Stephen A., I was wrong. They still balling without Jamal Murray, okay? The Phoenix Suns with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Cam Johnson, Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, the way that they're playing phenomenal basketball right now. And my favorites that are in the Western Conference right now, the Los Angeles Clippers. I said this before the season started, that they needed a floor general. That's all they was missing. And they went out and got Rajon Rondo. Oh, the guy that they took from the Lakers. The Lakers didn't sign him back. They took him for granted. And since the Clippers got Rondo, they have been a completely different team. Hell, not just the team. Paul George has been a completely different player. That's the Rondo effect. Reggie Jackson. So I'm anticipating the Lakers and the Clippers meeting up in somewhere in the Western Conference before we even think about the finals. And this is why I'm anticipating LeBron James getting back, because I want to see that matchup.
Hey, Max, you want to faint, Max? You want to faint?
Go ahead.
If LeBron James goes through the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George and Rondo, and then he goes and beats Kevin Durant, along with Kyrie, and James Harden. I'm not going to go that far. He ain't going to be he'll never be number one to me over MJ. But I will say this. I won't have a critical word to say about LeBron James for the rest of his career.
If
he wins this chip and he goes through those two, goes through a fully loaded Clippers and a fully loaded Brooklyn, I will sit up there and I might have to bow down to the king. I might have to bow down to the
James
king. I might have to do it, Kendrick.
Goes through not just the Clippers, but there's a chance he'll have to go through the Clippers, the Suns, and the Jazz
Yeah, but
before
you know
he
what I'm
even
saying.
gets
I'm
to
talking the Clippers
the
and Brooklyn.
Nets. If they're all healthy, Stephen A., and the big three are healthy in Brooklyn and LeBron wins the whole thing, he has a hell of a case against Jordan this year. That's because if the Nets are fully loaded, I don't think they can lose. But I'd like to see it because we haven't seen them fully loaded yet.
Well, here's the good news. LeBron is coming to a city near you, Stephen A., so you can see him live in person.
Bow down to the king.
Yeah, how about
I had
it?
to bow down.